Hello, my name is Tim, and I thank you for joining me in this guided session of the practice of Yoga Nidra. I'm honored that you have chosen to spend a few minutes with the sound of my voice. If you're new to the practice of Yoga Nidra, here's a brief introduction to help set the stage. Loosely translated, Yoga Nidra means yogic sleep, or the union experienced in deep rest. Over time, this practice can cultivate a steady, resilient, and deeply abiding peace. As you move through the practice, it's completely natural to encounter a range of thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations. Some of them pleasant, others uncomfortable. You may feel doubt, skepticism, confusion, even resistance or aversion, sometimes triggered by a word, a memory, or a feeling that arises unexpectedly. The purpose of the practice isn't to push these experiences away. Instead, Yoga Nidra invites you to explore a different relationship with them, to step into the role of the observer, the witness. From this spacious awareness, you simply notice what arises without judgment, without needing to change or fix anything. This act of non-reactive observation is not about eliminating judgment from your life. Discernment is essential. It helps us make wise choices and navigate the world. But by practicing this kind of presence here, in stillness, you begin to develop the inner skill of knowing when engagement with a thought or emotion only deepens suffering. And with time, the same skill becomes more available to you in daily life, helping you meet even the most difficult experiences with greater clarity, stability, and ease. Without further ado, let's begin. The typical position for Yoga Nidra is lying flat on your back on a yoga mat on the floor, but can easily be done lying on a sofa or recliner or a bed. Get comfortable in whatever position you have chosen. If you need a blanket for warmth, or a pillow for your neck, or a bolster for your knees, make yourself as comfortable as possible. Organize your eye pillow or mask if you're using one. Lie down with your spine in alignment, your feet slightly more than shoulder width apart, and the toes flopped out to the sides. Your forehead should be slightly higher than your chin. This will help keep the nasal passages clear and allow for good circulation from the back of the neck. Let the arms fall naturally away from the body with the palms facing upward. Or if this isn't comfortable, place them on the lower abdomen or over the center of the chest. After you're comfortable, take a couple of relaxed, deep breaths. Just observe the air flowing in and flowing out. Now, let your imagination take your perspective out of your body. Imagine you're behind your head and slightly above your reclining position. From this visualization, look down at yourself and then imagine looking around the room to place your awareness in the context of your imagination as to where you are. Look down at your body. Look to the back of the room and either side, and pause for a second, keeping the room and your reclining body in your imagination. Now let your imagined awareness move gently back into the body, entering through the crown of the head. Your inner being is now infused with this awareness. Become aware of your inner body. Separate your awareness as an observer of the outer world and turn your entire field of attention inwards. Take a moment to deepen your relaxation. No matter the surface upon which you rest, sink more deeply into the gravity of the earth and release all futile resistance. Take a second and think about what brought you to this moment and why you're here. Let this be the background theme of this session. Form an intention to stay awake and still and to remain present. If you need to move, then move. But before you move, take a breath or two just to confirm that you really do need to move as opposed to just being restless. If your attention wanders, simply recognize this without judgment and let your attention naturally gravitate back to the sound of my voice. This guided exploration of Nidra, which means deep rest, begins now. Start with a couple of deep, continuous breaths. As you breathe in, observe how it passes through your upper body, from the lower abdomen to the top of the chest. First, let everything out and start the inhale by focusing your attention on the pelvic floor or lower abdomen below the navel, and start to breathe in from the lower belly. Smoothly move your attention to the expansion of the upper abdomen and continue the in-breath, next progressing to the lower ribs, then the middle ribs, until finally you take the last of the in-breath without effort into the upper chest, just underneath the collarbones. Move awareness together with the breath as the lungs are naturally filled from bottom to top. Without stopping the movement of the flow of attention, let the end of the inhale softly slide over the top and transition naturally in a soft exhale, out through the mouth or nose as you choose. It should be a gradual, gentle release, taking longer to exhale than it did to inhale. It may help to slightly constrict the lower throat to slow down the exhale. The breath is always smooth and even, and the attention follows the breath. One more time, inhale through the lower abdomen, upper abdomen, lower rib cage, middle chest, beneath the collarbones. Let it slide over the top and out in a gradual, gentle, relaxed, extended exhale. And now, one more breath on your own. Now bring your attention to the space between the brows. This is the home of your inner wisdom. This is when your sankalpa arises. The sankalpa is a short, concise, first-person, positive declaration of I am that resonates deeply. Typical examples might include, I am at peace, or I am whole, I am safe, or I am complete. If you're new to the sankalpa, then I would suggest something like, I am being, or even simply, I am. The sankalpa is a statement that reflects a heartfelt intuition as to what is required to deepen or reinforce your connection to the inner stillness of open awareness that is your fundamental being. It was first planted when you accepted it and has been watered ever since with each recitation. Its power arises from this intuition and is reinforced by close attention and frequent repetition. Think of the Sankalpa as a drop of water falling onto a stone, and every drop that hits the stone is a gift. It's only by having the drop of water fall onto the stone countless times, onto the very same spot, can the stone be persuaded to loosen its grip on its solid form. And so it is with the Sankalpa. It needs to be focused and consistently applied to loosen the ties that bind. As your intuition and experience of your inner self matures over time, your Sankalpa will very likely evolve as well. Bring your Sankalpa to mind and repeat 3 times. I am. Know this to be true. I am. Bring this into your innermost being. I am. Rest this knowledge in your awareness. You will return to your Sankalpa at the conclusion of this session. Annamaya kosha, which is the layer or kosha of the physical body. This is a rotation of awareness. Make your attention a very light touch. It is not the kind of attention you pay playing the carnival game whack-a-mole. It's like relaxing on a calm, sunny day in a boat on a lake fishing, being alert to a possible bite. As your attention passes over the sequence of body parts, connect to each one and instill that part with the deepest relaxation you possibly can. It will help if you can time a single breath in and out with each part. If any one part or general area seems to be particularly tight or uncomfortable, make a quiet note to yourself, as that part will come into your practice again in a few minutes. Rotate your attention to the tip of the thumb of your right hand. Then index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, palm of the right hand, back of the hand, back of the hand, back of the hand, whole right hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, whole right arm, right side of the chest, right side of the waist, hip, whole right side of the torso, upper leg, knee, lower leg, ankle, top of the right foot, top of the right foot, top of the right foot, sole of the foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe, whole of the right leg, whole of the right side of the body, rotate your attention to the tip of the thumb of your left hand, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, palm of the left hand, back of the hand, back of the hand, back of the hand, whole left hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, left shoulder, whole left arm, left side of the chest, left side of the waist, hip, upper leg, knee, lower leg, ankle, top of the left foot, top of the left foot, top of the left foot, sole of the foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe, entire left leg, entire left side of the body. Now slide your awareness onto the tailbone. Let your awareness travel up to the lower back, mid-back, upper back, shoulder blades, neck, back of the head, crown of the head, the space between the brows, the eyes, the ears, the bridge of the nose, the nostrils, the upper lip, the teeth, the upper throat, the tongue, the lower lip, the chin, the jawbone, the lower throat, the top of the chest, the heart, the top of the abdomen, the lower abdomen, the bowl of the pelvis, the bowl of the pelvis, the bowl of the pelvis. And finally, move your attention back to your right hand and experience all the sensations in the right hand. Be very curious, yet detached. Is there tingling, pressure, temperature, density, shape, even color? What is the position of the hand? How are the fingers connected? Where does the sensation of one finger stop and the next finger begin? Now move your attention to the left hand and conduct the same examination. Look for the tingling, the temperature, density, the pressure, shape, and how the hand is oriented within itself and to the rest of the body. Do you feel a pulse of sensation as the heart beats? Now place both hands into attention at the same time and perform the same investigation once more. Pay attention to the temperature, any sensation of tingling, pressure, density, weight, shape, or pulse in both hands at the same time. Your two hands become one field of awareness to the exclusion of everything else. Are your hands in awareness, or is awareness in your hands? Release your attention entirely and rest together with the breath in open stillness. Pranamaya kosha. This is the energy layer. The theme here is a controlled visualization and noting that the energy of the breath will follow attention. Do a quick mental scan and move your attention to any body part that particularly tugged at you during the Annamaya kosha. If you're fortunate enough to have no aches or pains clamoring for attention, then simply use the lower back as your focus for this session of the pranamaya. Keep your chosen part, or lower back, in attention, and at the same time be aware of the nature of your breath coming in and flowing out. Imagine the energy associated with the awareness of the breath entering your body at that point, without controlling your breath in any way. Release and simply observe the exhale, imagining the exhale to be out through the top of your head. And again, breathe in through that part and gently release the breath through the crown of the head. And one more time. This time, keep your attention at the top of your head and breathe in from that point, and let the exhalation be out through the part. Again, in through the crown of the head and out through the body part. And one more time on your own. Now consolidate the cycle of breathing entirely to this body part. Breathe in through the part and breathe out through the part. And again, the breath enters the part, bringing in energy, and the exhale cleanses the part of stress and tension. And one final cycle of breath. Your attention and your breath have now come into perfect union with this one part of your body, to the exclusion of all else. Keep repeating this natural cycle of breath, and you will be returned to the practice in a moment. This may be challenging because you're keeping several distinct objects in your awareness at the same time. You're aware of your breath. You're aware of how this attention and the energy associated with that attention flows around and into the body part. And finally, you're aware of what that particular part is experiencing in this moment. All there is your attention, your breath, and the object of your attention. The Manamaya Kosha is the kosha representing the layers of emotion of the mind. This kosha typically focuses on two associated concepts, often polar opposites, and is an examination of how these priorities can be observed or experienced without engagement or even brought together in union. To begin, make sure you're comfortably situated in the seat of the observer. In this session, we're going to explore the relationship, and hopefully the common ground, between the state of being awake and the state of dreaming. Some place that isn't quite awake, but some place that has not been surrendered entirely to the dream state. This someplace is the Nidra in Yoga Nidra. Think of the experience and sensation of being in a dream. If you can recall a dream, think not about what you experienced in the dream, but rather what was the nature of the experience, what was the quality of the experience. What is it like to dream? When you're dreaming, do you know you're dreaming? In the voice of your mind, repeat the word dream 3 times. Sink into the feeling of what it is like to be dreaming. What kinds of thoughts, feelings, or emotions or sensations arise? Observe from a place of detachment, watching these constructed artifacts of the mind float by. Discard any words or phrases, and now ground your attention in the feeling, the emotional content associated with being in the state of dreaming. Observe it from the outside and the inside. Weigh the state of dreaming on your personal scale of discernment and reach out with your imagination and touch the aura of this dream state, this feeling, sensation, emotion. You're discovering the nature of dreaming, which is now firmly held by your attention. Rest in your seat as the observer and refrain from judging the dream state in any manner, positive or negative. And now turn your attention to the state of being awake. Repeat the word awake 3 times. Sink into whatever you associate with being awake. What thoughts, feelings, or emotions arise when you think about being awake? Observing from a place of detachment, watching these manufactured artifacts of the mind flow by. Now discard any words or phrases. Rather ground your attention in the feeling, the emotional sensations associated with being awake. Observe it from the outside and the inside. Weigh being awake on your personal scale of discernment and reach out with your imagination and touch the object. Is this what you are? Now anchor these 2 concepts one more time to your breath. On the inhale, name the first, dreaming, in the voice of your mind. On the exhale, mentally say the name of the second, awake. Embrace the feelings associated with each idea. You don't have to explain the feelings, just experience them. Gradually shift your attention from one to the other. Pause for a breath, and again. Back and forth in cadence with your breath. Now reverse the order. Breathe in, awake. Breathe out, dreaming. Repeat this for 2 more breaths. Now bring the sensations, thoughts, and feelings associated with awake and dreaming together into one synthesis, one union. Both ideas are held simultaneously in attention and awareness. Visualize these merged manifestations explicitly as having a definite form in your imagination. Let it become real in your mind. Let the forms, whether geometric or color or shape or soundscapes or any combination, slide together and gradually merge and become one. Observe without attachment. Even if what you are observing is confusion, let it be. With practice, it will come together. Relax all effort, but maintain that single, unified construct. If you have difficulty with that mental image, just relax and imagine what it might look like if you could visualize it. If you were to make an abstract drawing or painting of this union of awake and dream, what would you put on paper? Now simply rest in open awareness while maintaining your attention on this ineffable truth. Gradually release your hold on the object of your attention, this union of awakeness and dreaming, and slide into a pool of equanimity. Be open to the possibility that while you are not dreaming, you may not be awake either. Neti neti, which means not this, not that. Release, relax into open awareness. You're now entering the Vijnanamaya kosha. This kosha is the wisdom layer, the radiant field of insight where you remember not what you think, but what you are. Thoughts arise and pass. Feelings drift through and dissolve. Each image, each emotion caught lightly, then released. Envisage each of the following with the lightest of all touches. Don't grasp at the image, but rather simply observe that it arises and then is quickly replaced by the next. A drop of ink spreading into clear water. A candle flame merging into sunlight. Fog rising from a forest. A wave returning to the ocean. A snake swallowing its tail. Breath evaporating on a winter morning. Breath evaporating on a winter morning. Breath evaporating on a winter morning. A sand mandala being swept away. A mirror reflecting the moonlight. A thread being pulled into a woven tapestry. A butterfly emerging from its cocoon. Now, imagine a single snowflake, delicate, unique, crystalline. It floats through the air, spinning gently, caught in a ray of light, glistening, and then touches a warm stone, melting, gone. Its edges blur. It disappears, but it is not lost. It has become something else. Now see a glacier, majestic and ancient. Its towering blue walls crack like thunder in the warmth of the sun, and a great shelf of ice calves off into the ocean. Splash. And then it sinks and rises again as water. Free, dissolved into motion. Now see a ring, a golden Ouroboros, the serpent of eternity. It circles endlessly, swallowing its own tail, not dying, not destroying, but renewing. A cycle folding in upon itself, becoming more whole with each breath. Let your awareness become a drop of ink suspended in clear water, a single thought, a self-image, and then release it. It disperses outward in slow, elegant ripples. Its form disappears, but its essence expands, no longer confined. Now it belongs to the whole. Feel yourself become like fog at dawn, rising gently from the earth and disappearing into light. Soft, open, unbound. You are not separate. You're not fixed. You're not limited. You are the wave that returns to the ocean. You are the breath that returns to the sky. You are the flame, the ink, the mirror, the thread, the butterfly. And yet, somehow, going even deeper, neti, you are not this. You are not that. What you are is the space in which all things arise, and into which all things return. Release all visualizations and rest here, in the infinite wisdom of what cannot be heard, in the infinite wisdom of what cannot be held. Anandamaya Kosha, the layer of unconstructed awareness. Here in the silence beyond form is the truth of who you are. Here in the silence beyond form is the truth of who you are. Here in the silence beyond form is the truth of who you are. Return to your sankalpa. Without yet verbalizing, imagine it resting as an object in your awareness. Now silently repeat 3 times. I am. I am. I am. The practice of Yoga Nidra is never complete. It continues at some level of deep inner awareness with every breath you take and every thought, every sensation, and every emotion you experience. As we conclude this session, I'll leave you with a quote from the composer Claude Debussy. The music is found in the space between the notes. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. As you start to leave this state of deep rest, begin by moving the fingers, curling the fingers inward to the palm. Raise the hands and place them on your belly. Now move them up to your heart. Wiggle your toes. Drag your feet to your torso, flat on the ground with your knees up. Rock your knees gently side to side. Remove your eye shade if you're wearing one and slowly crack your eyes open. Your practice of Yoga Nidra now continues with the process of integration, and I invite you to consider your experience over the last short while by way of introspection or meditation, gratitude, or a metta practice, or journaling, or some combination, as well as engaging in some sort of intentional movement to pair with the stillness from which you are now just emerging. As part of this integration, Remember that at the beginning you were invited to consider what brought you to this moment and why you're here. Consider this again for one final brief moment. Thank you for being here. Namaskar.